Visualizing Baguio City's population density, an exploration in the efficacy of figurative models to interpret data. Population is the number of people in a city, town, region, or country. Population is usually determined by a process called census. According to the 2015 population census, there are 106.7 million people currently residing in the Philippines. Population explosion refers to the dramatic increase in the world's population that has occurred over the last few hundred years, wherein the Philippines grows a few million per year. This population explosion and the sudden urbanization of our country now results to 1. Urban sprawl where cities expand rapidly without planning. 2. The migration of the labor force into the cities because families see income in the city. And 3. Poverty, because the city cannot accommodate to the people's needs. They may also suffer a shortage in food supply, water, government services, overcrowding, and unemployment. Baguio City is a highly populated location wherein the residents, students, and tourists reside. There are currently 345,366 people residing in the city of Baguio. It is one of the most highly urbanized cities within the Cordilleran Administrative Region with a high population per kilometer. The area of Baguio City is a computed 57.52 square kilometers. The figures show how many people there are per square kilometer and per square meter. 6,000 per square kilometer and 6 per square meter. This will then create the idea of size and scale. The idea is to create a physical representation of the population density which may help in better understanding the relationship of the space and the population itself. There are many cases in which illustration is a helpful way of educating. There will be a use of two techniques: representational illustrations that show content directly and is the most common, and interpretational pictures that help clarify difficult texts. Mayer suggested that four conditions must be met for illustrations to be helpful. It must describe a cause and effect system, it must depict the system, and it must have an appropriate outcome, and the learners must be inexperienced with respect to the targeted content domain so that they may understand the problem. The concept of creating a newly fashioned idea from the objects is the main factor in creating this research. An idea which is also factored in this is to create representational art through abstraction. This is also called figurative art. Assembling will be the main process of the creation of this undertaking. The figurative sculpture will represent 6,000 architectural models of scaled human figures that would represent and interpret data through rhythm, proportion, and space. Objectives: to discover what figurative sculptures are and how an assemblage should also be a form of figurative art. To be an exploration of the efficacy of illustrative models in comparison to written text and data. To create a figurative model using the principle of rhythm, proportion, and space. Hypothesis: upon interpreting the facts, there will be a difficulty in how to present the model with gravity and depth. It will be an efficient way of creating an immersive model of written data. This will try to educate the people on overpopulation, the size and scale of the population density, and to show a new version of illustrating the data. Review of related literature. Population in the Urban by the Time Saver Standards. Toim Imao, Lee Page, Doho Suh, Jiyoung Lee, The Philippine Census on Population 2015, Efficacy of Illustration, and Figurative Art. Research Design Method. The data will be gathered from the following sources: journals and articles about the Philippine population, journals on the efficacy of illustration and modeling, definition of figurative art and assemblage, a study on the different bodies of works from artists. The controlled variable will mainly be the scale, which is a square meter, the human figure, and the 6001 by 100 scaled architectural scope and the limitation. The research is only limited to the controlled variables which are stated previously in the context of Baguio's population density using sculpting but not limited to assemblage. The research is limited to the Philippine census of 2015 if ever a new census is to be reached. The model will not be able to show the current situation. The sculpture is to be done in the time frame of 2 weeks from creating the models to assembling the whole image. The target audience of this project will focus on but not limited to urban planners, students of engineering and architecture, and city planners. Conceptualization. The idea is to create a model of the whole human figure using 6,000 1 by 100 architectural models on a 1 square meter pedestal. This pedestal shall be enclosed to create an immersive experience. This model shall be in the middle, and this 1 square meter space is to be shared by 5 individuals to create an experience that will represent how many people share in 1 square meter. This model will also visualize how many people share in 1 square kilometer. Here is a visualization of the models. This is the initial experimentation. I used a number of glue sticks and 120 architectural models for this sample of the hand. There is no wiring, there is no armature, just all of it is a model, architectural models. What I'm using here is a 1 by 50 architectural model. So if computed, I am to use 240 if ever 1 by 100 models are used. Conclusion. In creating this model, this is an efficient way to create an immersive model that shows statistical data. If it is fully formed and created, there may be a difficulty in creating a space that this sculpture will be set in. If ever the creation of a small room may be possible to show how many people share in a space, it will make a person feel enclosed and claustrophobic. There should also be an armature if made into scale and to create molds of figurines.